All right, we got to just jump right into it. Right now, we're performing a test with the brand new DJI Mic 3. We're outside, we're testing for noise reduction. I have my AC unit right here. It's going off full blast. We have some wind going, so we'll see how well this black wind muff does. And I think it's doing a pretty good job. You let me know. But just to give you a sense of what this would sound like if I didn't have the noise reduction on there, I can turn it off and you can hear just a lot more of the ambient sound and maybe the wind blowing. I'm not sure. We're gonna go ahead and turn on noise reduction again. This is set to strong. What's gonna happen here is that it may sound robotic. The thing about noise reduction though, it can be problematic. It can create artifacts in the voice and make it sound really unnatural. So I don't know if this is going to work out, but we can go ahead and switch it to basic. We switch it over to basic, you're gonna hear a little bit more of the ambient sound, but it should cut back on the noise. This whole video is about the DJI Mic 3. I've had it for about a week now, and I've had some time to kind of go over some of my initial thoughts. In this particular case, what you're listening to are some EQ settings that are set within the app. I have it set to rich tone, which gives you a nice voice presence, which I think is kind of cool. I really hope that this wind muff is doing its job because it's pretty windy out here. It comes with a gray one, which is supposed to be like a stronger wind protection for the microphone, but we'll see. And the way this fits on the microphone is incredible. Anyway, guys, there's so much to talk about. I'm gonna do the unboxing. We'll talk about the settings. We'll go over my experience with it so far. All of that right after this. What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy G. You're watching Keeping This Tech. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about the DJI Mic 3, but just the transmitter only. If you're thinking about picking up only the transmitter, hopefully this video will help you out because I've actually discovered a few things that I didn't really see anybody talk about because obviously they sell them with different sets. And of course you can get the transmitter alone. And so this video is gonna showcase what that's like. Why did I just go with the transmitter only? Simply put, there's too much competition out here for DJI, and I just don't think that the whole set would fit my particular needs. Now, I will say this, I also own the Rode Wireless Pro. Now, I will say this about the Rode Wireless Pro. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I hate the design of this thing. I think it's outdated, shiny branding, and it makes your shirt like just drag and droop. This is not the way to move. Now, with all of the disdain that I have for the design, I equally love the audio quality that this delivers, and this whole entire kit makes a lot of sense. And what's funny is that when this was announced, I was actually waiting to see what DJI would do with their DJI Mic 2 before I picked this up. Unfortunately, at that time, DJI released the Mic 2, and while it had some improvements, it missed out on the locking pin connector for the jack. And that's a big deal because I use these for client work. And for me, you know, not having that locking jack there just didn't make sense for me. So I went ahead and I picked up the Rode Wireless Pro. That being said, I actually attribute DJI for the Rode Wireless Pro because if we go back in the day when Rode had brought this to market, it was only one receiver, one transmitter, and they were like nickel and diming people back then for like little accessories. This little magnet right here would cost anywhere from $25 to $30. And this was in a world where there were no tariffs like they are now. It was just kind of ridiculous. Back then, you know, DJI released the Mic 1, and when they released the Mic 1, it had two transmitters, one receivers, a bunch of accessories. You got the magnet clips, you got a whole bunch of stuff. It had onboard recording, and they undercut Rode, and so DJI was eating Rode's lunch. I think they saw that and they came correct with the Rode Wireless Pro. It's a shame that they didn't, you know, put that locking pin there in the DJI 2. Otherwise, I would have gone with them because I actually prefer the slimmer design and the smaller design of the DJI microphones over the Rode system. Now, that being said, when the Mini came out, I thought, man, this is kind of cool, but it didn't have any onboard recording. So check this out. I have this big system and I'm like, I want something smaller. The Mini doesn't have onboard recording. And then Hollyland came out with their Lock M2S, which completely changed the way I thought about these little portable microphones. There's a little clip that you put onto your shirt. It's super like, you know, unassuming. It's like out of the way. It's perfect. And I love this, but it doesn't have any onboard storage. Now that's fine because again, this design works, and look at the receiver. The receiver looks like what a DJI mic would look like, right? So I was like, this is a perfect footprint on a camera. Look at that. That is so dope. It's out of the way. It's not really a big deal. I love this. Now, you do need a cable to connect to your camera like you would always, right? And so that's the thing. I think the Hollyland system is incredible, and I recommend this through and through. In fact, I did a video about this, and I think about 3 people watched it, so thank you to you 3. Even in the mini situation, the DJI didn't really fit my needs as much as I feel like the Hollyland came and did. And then, to my surprise, the DJI Mic 3 was announced. I gotta be honest with you, initially I was not interested in it. Like everybody else, I was reading about how we didn't have a microphone jack and no USB port. But then I got curious. I started looking into it a little bit more. And then I realized that this microphone is not just a regular microphone. This is also a recorder. It's a recorder that can record up to 32 gigs of audio. That audio could also be 32-bit float audio. And hold on, you can actually record 2 channels of 32-bit float, like a clean version of your audio with no effects, and then, you know, an edited version at the same time. Like, wait a second, hold on. What are we saying right now? What are we talking about? This is incredible. This is like a field recorder that's the size of an actual quarter. Considering that I'm all set with the bigger microphone set, I have my really small set, this could be a microphone recorder that I can take with me anywhere. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the unboxing experience. So, okay, check this out. In this set, you're gonna get a bunch of things. I think it's actually pretty cool. Let's go ahead and break it down. Got some instructions so you can charge it, and you can transfer the files via this USB cradle here. Right away, I already could tell I like the pouch. Let's see what we got. Ooh, very nice. It feels like a microfiber cloth almost. All right, let's go ahead and saw pile. Looks like this is our cradle. This is our wind muffs. This is the king of the show, the microphone right here. Actually, this is the magnet, and this is the magnetic clip. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Apparently you can adjust these the way you want. And this is a really cool little carrying bag. I like this. Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at this a little closer. Wow, that is small. I will say my biggest gripe with this is the fact that the branding is so freaking obvious. Like, it would have been cool if they had smoked it out, you know what I mean? But I like this finish here too. And it has that see-through, you know what I mean? That you can actually see the technology through this, which is really nice. Oh, I get it. Okay, so this is the clip part for the wind muffs. On this right here, it looks like it was an audio jack. I could see that, yeah. Now over here, it looks like we have 2 different types of wind muffs. I wonder if one is stronger than the other or if it's just an aesthetics thing. So you got a lighter one and you got a darker one. Oh, okay, and they have little clips in them too. And there's no right way to put them or wrong way. It looks, you just snap them in there. That's pretty cool. Get out the magnetic clips. Man, that thing is just ready to go. Look at that. Cool, cool. And apparently this, again, is magnetic, so it just clips onto it. And then you can rotate it however you want. I think you can rotate it. Is there like a... Oh, you actually have to lift it up to rotate it. So it doesn't just rotate on its own. You can unclip it, and it kind of secures itself in here. There are these little grooves in here that allow it to work that way. So they kind of clip right in here to keep it in place. So I could see if you're not doing this correctly, if it's not touching the groove or locking into the groove, how it could easily fall off. But this is pretty strong. This is, well, I gotta be careful with this, huh? I would say it's strong, but look at that. Yeah. I don't know. That's a little risky, right? I think it's a little risky. Again, these are my first impressions. So take a look at this cradle here, because this cradle, man, this cradle is everything. It's the reason why I bought this. I'm like, damn, I hope I didn't need to buy the base to transfer the audio files, because that would not be good for me. Looks like it fits with the clip, and it just connects magnetically. This is where we are in 2025 with technology, okay? This is insane to me. Now, the transmitter is interesting because, you know, obviously this is designed to be used with the receiver, but if you're only gonna get the transmitter, then what you need to do is rely heavily on the DJI Mimo app, which I thought the DJI Mimo app was a dedicated audio app, similar to what you'd find with Hollyland and their microphones and Rode and their microphone systems. But the Mimo app is not what I expected at all. In fact, it's an app designed for their cameras and their mobile gimbals, and you actually have to go into a pairing mode into the app in order for the interface to show up for the microphone. And once it shows up, if you lose that connectivity with it, then you have to go through the whole pairing process again, which can take a long time, longer than it needs to. It's super easy to like lose where you're at with the app, because if your phone is set to time out after a little bit, or if you go into another app, then you have to repair it. But that being said, if you want to make any adjustments to the microphone settings or do any firmware updates, you need to rely on the Mimo app. So in the Mimo app, you can clearly see that your microphone is connected. If it is in fact connected, you'll see how much you have in terms of hours left to record. There's a voice tone feature which will do audio processing for you. And then you have, your options for noise reduction. You have your system time. By the way, I had the hardest time figuring this part out. Basically, your system time is what time it is, and it syncs it to whatever your phone is. So that's something that you're going to want to do as soon as you get this, because otherwise you'll have whatever the time zone is over there in China, and that messes you up. I did recordings today, but when I brought it into the computer, it said that my recordings were for tomorrow. And if you're going to be syncing audio later on, then it's just going to be really difficult to tell when you actually recorded the audio. So just make sure to go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and password enable the files that you're recording. And then you have down here, you have the files downloaded app. The idea here is that all the files that live on the device can now be transferred onto the phone through the app. Over here, your three dots at the top again take you into the different settings. So you can set up a low cut, you have adaptive gain, you can mess around with the LED. Real quick, let's talk about the mic LED. Now the mic LED is pretty bright and there's no way for you to actually dim it, but you can turn it off in the app. Now, at first I thought that it didn't really work the way it should have. Like I would turn off the LED, but it would still be on. Like at least the actual light indicator of the microphone would be on. Not so much the recording indicator, but just the fact that it's on. Well, it turns out that you can turn off the LED, but what is actually happening is that it does not remember the state that it was in when you turn it back on again. So even though you've connected it in the app and you've said turn off, it does not remember that state. It remembers your voice settings. It remembers any sort of noise cancellation settings that you have, but the LED, it does not remember. And maybe that's more of a like safety thing, just to make sure that you're not keeping your microphone on when you actually want it to be turned off. That could be a thing, but I do notice that that's the case. So yeah, I guess my hope is that maybe they'll come up with an update that'll not only allow you to keep the state of the LED, but maybe even dim it down. There's a lot of runway with this microphone, being that it just got released. I can go ahead and turn off the LED and it'll turn off the recording light, but it won't turn off that pairing light. See, as soon as you turn this microphone on, it's looking for a receiver. It's flashing blue that whole time. It'll continue to do that unless it's paired. Right now, you may or may not see that it's like a teal color, but that's because it's paired to the phone. But if it's not paired to anything, it's constantly looking for a device to pair with. It's like, Ghostbusters.
Are you the gatekeeper? Are you the gatekeeper?
It's constantly looking for something to pair with. And so I don't know if that's going to drain the battery life. I don't know if there's a way for you to turn that off. It'd be cool if they could release an update that's specific to people who are using the transmitter only. But either way, you can't turn off that pairing light. But then down here at the bottom, you have about devices where you can click on that, change the name of the device, see the serial number, and you can also do a firmware update. That's one of the first things that I did, was the firmware update. And so, yeah, you have all these options here, but as soon as you go out of the app, let's say I don't want to stick with rich tone, I actually have to go through the whole pairing process again to get that to show up for me, and then I can switch it. So they really didn't design this. Well, let me back up. I think there's one of two things. Either A, the whole app was an afterthought, or B, they really don't want you to use this by itself, right? They really want you to use it with, the receiver. I don't really know. I'm not obviously, insinuating that they're being nefarious, but I am saying that it's not the best experience, just so you know. Now, the other way that you can transfer files is through the provided cradle/cable here, and let me show you what that looks like. Now, I think one thing about this thing is pretty awesome is the fact that these little pins here will allow you to transfer data. High resolution audio files are being transferred through these little 6 pins here. I mean, if we're not living in the future, man, I don't know what is. And obviously it goes through this USB-C port here. You connect it to your iPad or your computer. Now, here's the thing about this system is that this is really a cable. And if you're familiar and work with cables before, you know that cables want to do what cables do. Like this is flat, but it's not. It's like a flat surface, but with like round angles. And you can't really put it flat because the cable, again, wants to do what it does. So it just kind of just topples over. The other part of that is that the magnet here is super weak. So even when you have the microphone on there, it's super easy for it to just kind of just come off of the bottom there. Now, when this is connected to your computer, it sees the microphone as a hard drive. So I've seen error messages that pop up saying, hey, you disconnected the hard drive without ejecting it properly. So my concern is obviously if I am in the process of transferring some data and this comes off, is it going to corrupt the files that are there? So it's just something to be cautious of. But yeah, the cradle does not handle the microphone very well, and it has to lay down. And so it's almost like I would want to put like maybe some Velcro here for that. But the other problem is you only get one of these cables. So I don't even know if they sell these separately. And obviously there's no other way to connect to the microphone without this cable, right? Unless you're going wirelessly. So there's a proprietary setup here, which makes it kind of like risky. You know, you'd want to have a couple of these if things are critically on here for you. So just something to be aware of. Once the files are in here, you transfer them, you're really good to go. The cool thing about the way this is set up, at least on the app, is you can set it to record just the audio being processed as well as the original audio being unprocessed. So that's really cool if you wanted to do that. Now, I think that option is grayed out for me because I'm already recording, so it's not an option. The other thing too is that within the settings, you can set it to record 32-bit float. Now, by default, it's set to 24-bit, so that's something that you want to go into the application and set to as soon as you get it. Now, the last little point of contention here is the files download, and I promise I'll get back to that. What I've found is that, yes, I can download the files to my Files app, but when I go to click on it, I don't hear it back. In fact, what it does, it seemingly imports it back into the Mimo app, and I don't know where it is. There's no like, hey, let me listen back to my audio within the app. Honestly, aside from these kind of quirky things and, you know, the app not being that great, this is going to be the best solution for me because, again, it's a portable recorder that you can take with you anywhere at any time and have access to audio that you can manipulate, restore, recover anytime you want. And for what it is, I think it's actually a really good thing. I mean, just to think about it, having a field recorder, again, the size of a bottle cap with this quality is insane. And that's how I view it. You know, there are many times that I take out my photo camera just because I'm in the mindset of only taking photos, but I want to capture video. And in many cases, more than not, I don't take a microphone set with me and I forget to. And if I grab this, as you notice, there's no place in this little kit here for a microphone cable. And I'm like, damn, I don't have a microphone cable. So how am I going to record this? This doesn't have any onboard storage. Also, like, I don't want to walk around with this because I refuse to now. Again, the design is obnoxious for me. So being able to take my camera with me, which by the way, this takes great video as well, and then to be able to match it up with great audio anytime I want. So let me go ahead and wrap up everything here. Honestly, I think the DJI microphone for what they're offering it's a really good product. Unfortunately for them, the competition is just too crazy out here, right? You got Hollyland DJIing DJI, you know what I mean? Like I mentioned earlier, like they have that system that also comes with a set of monitoring earphones that you can listen to wirelessly. Now, if you've ever tried to monitor audio with Bluetooth headsets, you know that there's that delay there and it can be very distracting. There's so many things going on, and on top of that, you have to deal with this reverb echo type thing going on. And so they went ahead and they solved that problem. They are doing everything. Yes, they don't have that locking pin connector, but I can forgive them for that because they went ahead and gave us wireless headphones to listen to. Now, that kit I think is like $50 or $60 less than what DJI is offering. There's no question in my mind if I were looking for a complete set, that's the one that I would go with. The idea though of having a wireless transmitter like the one that we have here, being also a recorder, being as compact as it is, sounding as good as it sounds, that works for me because I don't think there's another small portable wireless microphone that's also a 32-bit float recorder. I don't think there is one out there. If there is, let me know in the comments below, but for me, for what this is the product. Do I think it's a great option? I think if it fits your needs and what you're looking for, absolutely. Again, for me, it's going to be my backup microphone whenever I need it, and I just got to remember to keep it with me. And as far as small as it is, I think my only challenge will be making sure which bag I have it in. All right, guys, I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.